Here comes more of Frank's Magic Bus on the Classic Rock Experience.
You wouldn't get any argument from me if you said the Black Crowes were the best bluesy American rock band of the entire decade of the 1990s, and they were pretty wild times, the 90s were, as we continue our one-on-one conversation with the Black Crowes drummer, Steve Gorman. What was the wildest time back in the days with the Black Crowes? Because you've been with them since the beginning. Would it have been that Soviet Union Monsters of Rock thing in 91 or what?
That's on the list. I mean, that was a pretty intense few days for us, for sure, to be over there a month after a big coup attempt. And a month before we got there, tanks had been firing on the Parliament building in Moscow. And then we show up and play a festival to 600,000 people. In a country that had no real law and order at the time. It was strange. But you know what? At the time, that was towards the end of our touring cycle for our first album. We'd been through so many things and played so many shows, and it didn't even impact us. We were sort of numb, actually, looking back. We knew it was a pretty intense situation, but we just kept our heads down and got through it. And it was one of those things a couple months later when everybody got home, and finally got a real night's sleep for the first time in 2 years, you look back and go, man, that was crazy. But again, when a band puts a record out and does everything for the first time, it's all so intense, you really don't know how to process it. And in fact, it takes a while to make sense of any of it.
Exactly. It happens too fast and it's kind of dizzying, but then you shake your head later and go, wow, did we do that right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of that from those first 5 years. I remember at the end of 1995, when we finished touring for our third album, I turned 30, and it was the first time, I really felt like it was the first time I'd taken a breath and exhaled slowly in 6 years.
Wow. Would the great Live at the Greek thing with Led Zeppelin's Jimmy Page be up there, too, as one of your more memorable things? Because we all love that. We played a lot of it.
Yeah, no question. I mean, that's one of those things that, that's when reality actually eclipses your fantasies. I never bothered to imagine what it would be like to play Led Zeppelin songs with Jimmy Page. It didn't seem like that's not something I ever thought would, for any reason, develop. So when it ended up, when it turned out that we played a show with him and put it all together, it was one of those times of like, as the best things in life often are, unplanned, unimagined, and they just develop and happen. And before you can really freak out, you're doing it. And again, that's another one of those things. We did that first run of 6 shows with him. Got home and looked in the mirror and went, what the hell just happened? That was amazing.
Was I playing with a lead guitarist of Led Zeppelin? Well, 10 Years Gone, we played that version there, that live version you guys did with him for the longest time. And it pretty much was all Led Zeppelin music, right? You guys couldn't play your own, right?
Well, we played it live. We couldn't put it on the record. There was, contractual things with our record company where we couldn't put Black Crowes music on the live release, but we were playing some Black Crowes songs at the shows. So the people who went to the gigs heard them. But 10 Years Gone was my favorite, hands down, every night to play. That's my favorite Zeppelin tune. So when we were doing it, that's the one every night. That was when I would get the goosebumps on my arms every time. Hearing him start that intro was pretty amazing.